is not support for the Jewish people. On the contrary, Israel is the greatest rebellion against God and the danger for the Jewish people. It exacerbates anti-Semitism. I think that Egyptians are from Egypt and Palestinians are from Palestine, and we have seen in the past couple of weeks since the ceasefire was formally adopted that our people are returning to parts of Palestine, to northern Gaza that were previously ethnically cleansed, and that momentum I expect will continue. And the will of the people is not going to change. The president, the government can, whoever they are, we are going to continue to make the exact same demands and to agitate however we can. It is our duty and our obligation in diaspora to help and support resistance by whatever means are available to us abroad, so that our people back home can continue to resist and continue to return to their lands. Don't miss out. Log on to oneindia.com for more updates.
Oh goodness, we're living in chaos. Huh. Hello, hello. Man, oh goodness. I don't know. You see, it's kind of hot. Wasn't expecting to feel hot. Check out this. Hi, Piggy. Piggy. Piggy Nation. Piggy Nathan. Piggy. What? Hello, hello. So welcome to today's live chat. I've been watching the news. Okay, I usually don't watch the news. Hi, love. I woke up today to the news. Americans are protesting against Project 2025. What do you care? Do you care that there is protests against Project 2025? It's only 2 weeks into Donald Trump's presidency, and we are having chaos. I don't know how the 4 years are going to be like. I don't know how the next 4 years are going to be like. If 2 weeks into this and we're still having protests, what do you think? What do you think? Hi, Jay. Piggy is like, I don't really care. I just live my life. You're lucky. You're lucky you can just live your life. You know, this is a good lesson though. This is a good lesson that somebody said you never sleep in a democracy. If you're going to sleep in a democracy, you sleep with one eye open like this. You don't completely sleep. You know? Because when you sleep in a democracy, you can wake up to an oligarchy or a dictatorship. So I'm like, you know what? There is nothing, okay. I think a lot of Americans will feel helpless. So they are protesting because, mostly they are protesting because they did not vote for Elon Musk. Like, that's kind of like the biggest thing. I mean, this is for 2 weeks, 2 weeks into his presidency, and already people are protesting. I don't know how they are going to. I mean, I don't know how this is going to go on like for the next 4 years. I didn't expect this too soon. I didn't expect this 2 weeks into his presidency. I didn't expect people to start protesting like 2 weeks in. I don't know. A lot of people just don't care about what other people think, but I do. I guess a lot of people don't. Okay, so I guess a lot of people don't understand that freedom is what is. For me, I care about other people, and the reason that I care about other people is because other people's well-being. When I see other people who are okay, then it means that I'm okay. It's kind of like you can care about air pollution because you have lungs. If I didn't have lungs and I didn't breathe, I would not care whether there was air pollution or not. Because if I was a stone and I didn't have lungs, I wouldn't care if there was air pollution. But since I breathe, I care that the air is fresh and that there is little pollution. That's why I care about other people's rights, because I am a person. If I don't care about other people's rights, they might not care about mine. So in my best interest, I care about other people's rights. But yeah, people are protesting. Like, I see headlines here, Gaza is not for sale. Americans didn't even want Gaza. They did not ask for Gaza. Most Americans did not even care about like Gaza. So they are protesting that they don't want Gaza. Philadelphia is protesting. Washington is protesting. I saw what's it? Arizona there's also protests in Arizona. Um, Students protest here in LA too. Um, yeah, a lot of people are protesting about Elon Musk's move to gut agencies. For me, I think a lot of people, I care so much about freedom. And I think it's because being African, being black, you really care about freedom, because I think a lot of people don't realize the colonization of Africa took a long time for Africa to fight for its freedoms. And I don't know, I don't think Americans have ever had to fight for their freedoms apart from the black people in America. I don't think Americans have ever had to fight for their freedoms. So I guess black people tend to care more about other people's freedoms and their rights. But I don't think a lot of people care about their rights and freedoms as much as like black people would. But I don't think in a democracy anybody can afford to sleep with all their eyes closed, because when you sleep in a democracy, you will wake up into an oligarchy, and then the tables have switched on you. Now Americans are protesting because they're like, we didn't vote for Elon Musk. What is he doing in our government, controlling like trillions and trillions of dollars? He's not our president. He's not our president. Um, I mean, oh my goodness. Most people voted for Trump because he was going to take other people's rights away from them. He was going to come for black people's rights. He was going to come for migrants. They did not see this. They did not see somebody like Elon Musk coming and gutting their funding to their various agencies that this guy they did not vote for. And the thing is, they are overstepping Congress. Now, which is what I think for me, that is the icing on the cake. That's when you know things are bad. So there is always separation of power, and people separate the founders of the nation. They did a separation of powers on purpose. They separated power. You know, that's why you have the judiciary, the presidency, the Congress, the executive. You have separation of powers to protect the freedoms of the people. So the role of the presidency can be limiting. Just if you step into the role of the presidency, you think you're the most powerful man on earth, but the problem is the presidency it's an institution, and the law puts limits on that role. It doesn't give anybody exclusive power to do whatever they want. So there are limits, and I think a lot of people, one of the things, the Congress controls government spending. It's maybe you don't want it, but it's the way it does. It's the way, it's what the Constitution does. That's the law of the land. So for somebody like Elon Musk to come and control government spending, he's not part of the Congress. He's not elected official. He's like nobody. Americans are like, what the heck is going on? It's like the joke number one. Like, what the heck is going on? We have limited roles. Like everybody has like their job, And this guy, who is a nobody in government, comes and decides, well, I want to gut government spending, you know, and he's like, I'm going to ask you guys to resign and you will get paid for resigning right now. I'm just giving you that offer. And they're like, and then who are you? Most Americans are like, and who are you? Right? Well, I think he had a big part to play in the outcome of the election, you know, given that he owns a huge platform and he's among the world's richest people. I don't know if he's still the richest person, because I feel like people are selling their Tesla stock, you know. Um, but that is what it is. Like, if somebody, just because they have enough money, they can go and control trillions and trillions of dollars from the government, control government spending, and they are still beneficiary of government contracts. Hey, what did this? Who put it? There's somebody who put it in a funny way. Somebody put it in a very funny way. You know how, what do you call people who benefit from government money?
Thank you. Dozens of
Anyway, he called Elon Musk the queen. The queen.
Thank you. Dozens of protests.
So there's a lot of protesting happening nationwide.
Gathered outside the state capitol this afternoon as local groups try to lend their voices to a larger resistance efforts in other parts of the state.
Yeah, THV11's Maya Ellison sampled some of the calls coming from people already angry 3 weeks into the Trump administration.
I am sick and tired of living in this country where brave people have fought and died for every scrap of land that we live on. I've been afraid to put a bumper sticker on my car because I don't want my car to be damaged. I need it, you know? And I'm sorry. I can't be afraid anymore.
In front of the Capitol on Wednesday afternoon, protesters came together to make their voices heard, rallying against President Donald Trump's policies and Project 2025.
The crowd has grown. We started out at 12 at noon, and these are some very impassioned people. They are all here with a united front.
You know, some of the things that I don't understand, like America, you know, it's a democracy. And when you give your now, it feels sad that, you know, they elected democracy. Everybody has a democratic right to vote and elect whoever they want to elect. But now, when you have to fight for your freedoms and for your rights, and the man that you're fighting your freedom and your rights from now is not even somebody you elected, that's a big problem for democracy. that's like a joke on its own, right there. That I find that humorous, you know, that you could have freedoms one day, and then you start fighting for your freedoms basically the next day. Just like that, you're on the other side fighting for the freedoms that you already had. It's a joke. It's a joke. And most people, we are here because of the price of eggs. We are here because of the price of eggs. Because if you ask many people, that's what they voted for, the price of eggs. I'm here waiting to see how this will unravel in the next 4 years. And 3 weeks in, Americans have been bombarded by so many things, you know, ethnic cleansing in Gaza, Elon Musk, DEI, 2 plane crashes, and wow, Wow, 2 weeks, two weeks. We are almost 3 weeks into this. I can't believe it. Oh goodness. I don't know how I'll escape this. Tell me guys, how do I stay on social media and escape this madness? I don't know how to escape this madness because it's overwhelming. And somebody was saying that it's actually a good tactic to overwhelm the media, you know, because the media is lazy, definitely. So overwhelm it with a lot of things going on, you know, immigration, deportation, Medicaid, um, government funding, all this, like overwhelm the media until people feel like, we can't think anymore, right? Um, and also like a lot of people, because they don't know the separation of power and the government, like a lot of it's hard to defend a democracy when people don't even know how the government works or how it should work. Yeah, when people are not even aware of their rights, it's very hard to defend a democracy, because it's like you have to defend something that you know about. So a lot of people don't understand like the work of the Congress, in budgeting and everything. And so they think that, you know, if we didn't have lawyers that can, they're lawyers, like they are judges who stopped like some of those like some of those like executive orders that Trump signed. They're judges who moved very swiftly to stop them because they knew some of them were unconstitutional. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know some of those things were unconstitutional. Like the judge, like even the president doesn't have the power to do some things. For example, he can't just say that he will take natural citizenship from people. The president has no power to do that. His office doesn't give him that power at all. So judges moved to say that was unconstitutional, you know, because again, as civilized people, the only thing that we have that we agree on is the Constitution, that this is the law of the land. This is what goes. And everybody who understands the rule of law understands that, you know, you cannot decide that you have powers that you haven't been granted under the law, because we are a civilized people, we follow the law. And because most people don't understand that, they are not able to protect the law of the land, which is the law is the law of the land is God, right? You follow the law as if it's God. It's the voice of the land. I think that is why I don't know. Our freedoms, like I think our freedoms on the law and the constitutions, those are the things that we must protect above the price of eggs. Your freedom. Your freedom is more important than gas prices. It's just something that I think a lot of people voting, when going to election, people not wanting to vote are the worst. Like people who don't vote, absolutely the worst. But also I think it's also dangerous to just vote when you're not informed, you know, about what is at stake. And now we are 2 weeks and we know that, you know, our prices, everything that our prices are going to skyrocket just because tariffs do that. And who gets hurt? Who gets hurt is the working class. The working class will get squeezed like this. I was talking to somebody like a Trump supporter, and he said he doesn't care even if like spinach becomes $50 a bunch. He said he does not care, and he doesn't care about other people. And when we stop caring about one another and we are in the same boat, it's like you know, somebody said that if you're on a plane, it doesn't matter whether you're in the economy class or you're in the first class. If you're out there flying and you're in the first class, economy class, it doesn't matter. If that plane is going to crash, everybody in that plane dies. You know, so it doesn't matter whether you're in the first class or you're in the economy class. If the plane is coming down, you're going down with it. And it's a good thing to remember something like the Titanic, right? A lot of people died, the rich, the poor. I mean, at least there's some of the rich people and the women and children, they were able to escape. But for majority, even the captain, the ship sank and everybody, went down with it. And it's the same with the economy, and the country. If people are losing their freedoms and government is cutting funding, like if the ship is going to sink, you're sinking with it. It doesn't matter, if you're way too privileged or not. The thing is, I know there are people who can afford high prices. Obviously, the very rich, the millionaires and the billionaires, if you put the price of gas to be $100 a gallon, they will still afford. They can sleep at night. They still can afford it. But the middle class, they suffer. You know why they suffer? Because most of the employers, they will not say, oh, because of inflation, let me increase your salary. Most salaries don't go up just because there's inflation. Most employers will not increase your salary because there's inflation. So when prices go high, you're putting enough productivity for your employer to make profit, but the money that you're getting is so low that you get squeezed. That is how the middle class gets squeezed. And the middle class moves from being middle class to being very poor. You destabilize an economy, just like that. Just like that. Okay. Let me turn on the lights here. Turn on the lights, baby. I feel top of the world looking down on creation. I'm the only information I can see. It's the love that I found ever since you've been around. Ooh. I'm a Christian, so I believe in God when He says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I think because God's justice, His justice is rooted in His holiness. So it's like, if you don't care about your neighbor and whether they are going to lose their freedoms, maybe sometimes when you're voting for them to lose their freedoms, you're also voting for yourself to lose some freedoms. And a lot of people don't see it that way. God's justice is rooted in His holiness. It's always a joke, it's kind of like always a joke. That's why He says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, because what I think about is like those hi USA. Love, welcome back. Today I'm ranting about the protests that are happening on the country worldwide. I'm just giving on my take. And you don't have to agree with me. You can put on your comments below, because I know 50% of the population obviously don't agree with me. But, you know, for me, I'll say my opinion. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I really don't care whether people agree with me or not, because all I care is that I am true to what I think. And if in the future I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what I think is what I think. And if what you think is different from me, trust me, I will respect your opinion. Because at the end of the day, when we live to see the other day, the next day, we are going to see at the end of it how everything comes about. How everything comes about. I'm talking about how God's justice, his justice, is rooted in his holiness. So there's always, I think, the reason why he says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Because when you wish bad things upon your neighbor, you might end up wishing bad things upon yourself. It might come back to haunt you. You know? Because a lot of people, the reason they voted for Trump is because they voted for, like, people's freedoms to be taken away from them. And then they wake up and they realize, oh, Elon Musk wants to gut spending for everybody, even the programs that they defend on, the education system, the medical, the Medicaid, everything. He's like going down this. And they're like, wait, we did not want this. I wanted America to be made better. I wanted you to deport all these people that I don't want to see. But then he also said he was going to put tariffs. He was going to make Mexico pay. But that's not how tariffs work. Like, it's a joke. I mean, I expected this. I knew like when my cooking oil went $7 up, I knew that, man, I probably cannot deal with the tariffs. Only if God has mercy on me, can I afford the tariffs? I knew it was bad news. I knew it was bad news, but not everybody. No, somebody told me that he can afford somebody told me if spinach went to $50, he doesn't care. As long as Trump is president, he don't care. He don't care. He can afford it, But yeah, for most of us, if spinach goes to $50, we're screwed. If spinach goes to $60, I'm screwed. I don't know. If beef went to $50 per pound, I'm not eating beef. I'm eating tofu. I'm going to eat tofu. But I can afford to be vegetarian. I've already decided. I know where I can get iron. I know how to eat. I know nutrition. So even if beef was expensive, I'd still get my iron somewhere. I still know my sources of protein, like nuts, like all these other things, So I'm sure it'll be okay. USA saying, it's a bargaining tool. Our economy is way bigger than theirs. We can either weather tariffs longer than other countries, so eventually it'll crash their economy. You can't bargain on other economies getting crashed, because look at what happened with Russia. When Russia invaded Ukraine, we had all these tariffs to stop Russia and their oligarchs from, we wanted to crash their economy. We really wanted to crash their economy. But we stopped buying oil from them. Obviously, their economy dipped, right? It dipped, for sure, it dipped. And we thought Russia cannot hang on for another 2 months, 3 months, whatever. Russia found new trading partners in India, in China, in Brazil, with South Africa. And soon, Russian economies went back to where it was. And Russia is still fighting, and probably Russia is going to win the war on Ukraine. And so, like, people also adjust. Other countries adjust. And you think about BRICS, they are like 60% of the world's population, the BRICS economy. And we can't afford to just alienate everybody. We can't afford to alienate everybody. It's kind of like your rights and your freedoms. You only have them as long as you can protect them. And so goes with the economy. It's only as strong as long as you can keep working and keep balancing your books and keep working hard to grow the economy. But it's never a given, it's never a given. You sleep with one eye, or you sleep in a democracy. You can wake up in an oligarchy. You can wake up in a dictatorship. It happens. So, I don't know. The Bible says that, a good leader, because a good leader will promote peace. That's how you know a good leader. It's all in the book of Proverbs. A good leader because a good leader promotes peace. And a weak leader brings in chaos. That's what a weak leader does. He brings in chaos. 3 weeks into Donald Trump's presidency, all I'm seeing is chaos. And I'm looking at my Bible and reading and thinking, God, why do we have chaos? Is he going to be a good leader? 2 weeks into chaos. But anyway, I still am hoping, I'm hoping that he still delivers those promises to the American people. So there's this Proverbs that says, Proverbs 16:10 to 20. It's about good leadership. Says, a good leader motivates, does not mislead, doesn't exploit. God cares about honesty in the workplace. Your business is his business. Good leaders abhor wrongdoing of all kinds. Sound leadership has a moral foundation. Good leaders cultivate honest speech. They love advisors who tell them the truth. An intemperate leader wreaks havoc in lives. You're smart to stay clear of someone like that. Good-tempered leaders invigorate lives. They are like spring rain and sunshine. A good leader is like spring rain and sunshine. get wisdom. It's worth more than money. Choose insight. It comes every time. So that is the foundation of good leadership. You invigorate people. You don't exploit. And I have 2 weeks into Trump's leadership, I have seen him exploit things. I have seen him talk about the crash and blame it on DEI. And a lot of people see DEI as saying, like not employing like people of color, and and I'm like, what did like people of color have to do with this? You can't exploit a bad situation and start like talking about like it's people of color causing causing plane crashes. And okay, fine. Okay, let's say he came into chaos. Every leader, we are all moving into better. People, a lot of people in their life, they come from chaos. A lot of people come from traumatized families, poor families. A lot of people in life are coming from chaos, right? And what they do is they adopt a positive attitude and they move forward. It's just 2 weeks, and there is a lot of chaos. I mean, maybe we are not giving him a good credit because it's only 2 weeks, but there are things that people don't want to see. People don't want to see oligarchy. People don't want to see Elon Musk in government, Legbreaker says, when you go after the evil in a situation, they are going to try to give a person perception of chaos to hide their evil deeds. I'm hoping that is the case, but it seems to be the truth. I like your perception, right? I like your perception. And then I think that, if you truly believe like, okay, he's going after a lot of evil people and this is going to be chaotic, and he's just doing what he's gotta have to do, like he has to do this and it's going to be chaotic, you believe that he has to do what he's gotta do. I want to believe, like I read the Project 2025. I read the project. And at first I did want to believe, okay, there's a lot of things that actually, maybe if I wasn't cynical about Project 2025, there's a lot of things that could be like, this sounds like a good project. Like it sounds on the surface, it sounds like a good project that, okay, he goes like, obviously, the Project 25 says, okay, we've learned from our racist past, that wasn't good, and now we are forging in a new place for America. We are moving in forward with a non-racist society. We put that behind, we move forward. That's great, like kind of like that part of Project 2025. I was like, okay, I can live with a project like that actually acknowledges the past, the horrible places where people are coming from, and the future, and how we want to create it bright, because that's essentially the American dream, You can't say he's not part of Project 2025 because everything that is happening right now, Dodge is in Project 2025, unless you haven't read it. But I read the Project 2025. Dodge is mentioned in Project 2025. DEI is mentioned in Project 2025. This Project 2025 is what is happening. It's the unraveling of Project 2025 that we are here. The Department of Government Efficiency. That is in Project 2025. That is not like something made up. So if you tell us like, oh, he's not part of Project 2025, but we are seeing things that are in Project 2025 2 weeks into his government taking place in Project 2025, are we supposed to say like, oh, it smells like, quacks like a duck, but it's not a duck, you know? I don't know if they are not part of it. I just know that that is part of the project. So actually for me, and I know we could agree, leg breaker, it's okay if we could agree to disagree, but everything that he is doing right now is in Project 2025. So that for me makes me think that he is probably a puppet president of the BlackRock and Vanguard and all these people behind Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation and all those think tankers, because it's very relentless. 2 weeks into it. I don't think your performance should ever be based on your ethnic or race or anything. I honestly don't think that that should ever be like, if you hire two people, their color should never be an issue. The problem is for a lot of black people going to get a job, their color is the problem, not the fact that they are qualified or not qualified. The problem is people judge black people by their color and not because of whether their performance or whether they have qualifications or experience. That has always been kind of like the problem. And then, uh-huh. So and I agree, but I agree that we should never have color like being it should never in a civilized society where we know that everybody can learn. When you give people experience, when you give people education, everybody can learn. We all learn. The human brain learns the same way, whether you're white, whether you're Indian, whether you're African. The human brain, according to science, learns through repetition. So everybody can learn. If they dedicate their time, they can play the piano, they can become a doctor, they can become qualified at anything, uh, like and anybody who doesn't learn, regardless of their skin color, they can be very dumb, and that is science. So what I don't understand, we had two plane crashes last week, and he blamed that on DEI, and I still don't have any evidence myself. I don't know if you have any evidence on your end where anybody who caused the plane crash was hired because they were not qualified. He can come and show us like, like who was hired and they were not qualified. Because when he says statements like that as the president, he's leaving a lot of room for misinterpretation. I mean, I don't, you know, personally, like I'm just in shock about like the next, like already in 2 weeks, like most people are in shock, right? There is protest on the street. Already for me, I am worried how this is going to be the next 4 years. You know, if this is 2 weeks, you know, um, I can always I can always give him the benefit of the doubt, you know, but I think we will wait to see. We will wait to see um, how all this is going to unravel, you know. Um, exactly. And exactly. He is keeping his word, right? He is keeping his word. Uh, I guess nobody can say that Trump lied to them. Nobody can claim that. One thing that I know about Donald Trump, he did not lie to people. He did not lie about the intentions. It was clear on the Project 2025. It was so clear, you know, unless somebody did not read the Project 2025, he did not lie about it. Everything he said was on Project 2025. Everything he's doing is still on Project 2025. I don't think he is very consistent actually. Actually, one thing we can agree is that he didn't lie. He is very, very consistent. Um, yeah, so I don't understand why people are protesting. They voted for everything that's happening. Maybe they just didn't vote for Elon, you know? All politicians lie. Um, all politicians lie. Most people voted for Trump. They were saying they voted because they want gas prices to go down. They want food prices to go down. Food prices are not going to go down. You know, that we can all agree. In case of anything, they are going to go up. No, the biggest thing, I mean, a president can only do what he can do given the presidential powers that he has. But you can't overstep the law of the land. So you can overstep, for example, Congress has the power to control spending. You can't overstep Congress and bring in somebody like Elon, who is not elected by the public, by the people. We don't know who this guy is, and he starts controlling trillions and trillions of Americans' people's money. You know, that is, first of all, unconstitutional. You know, uh, yeah, it's probably like a treasonous act to do that. He should not be part of government collecting people's information, all this data of American people, companies, and just empowering the very people that might even be Americans' worst nightmare in the future. You know, all these oligarchy, like techno bros, they want your information, they want your data. Now, we give the government information and data because we trust the government. We do not trust Elon Musk. Yeah, the president. See, this is what I say. Some people don't know about the presidency. The Congress, the president, the judiciary. You know, the government is divided into three groups: the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. The president is part of the executive. The president is part of the executive, and he has some presidential powers, but he's not part of the legislature, and he's not part of the judiciary, right? So there is the division of power, and this was brought about by the founders. They purposely did the division of power to avoid a dictatorship, so to minimize even the power and the office of the president, because you can be head of the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. You know, that's why we have like a balance of power. You know, that's good. Like, it's good for the president to have his way with people. One of the reasons that people elect a president is because they elect a president because they think he has very good skills, communication skills, so that he can negotiate his position with Congress and the Senate, that he can have a way to sweet talk, you know, to talk about his policies, his things, work together with people. He needs to work together with people, the elected people that other Americans have also elected, work with them. But when you decide, I'm not going to work with the people that Americans have elected into government, I'm just going to bring on Elon Musk. I don't care whether people elected him or not, and I'm going to give them power to decide spending of the country. That is not what people want. That is not what people want at all. For me, I see that as a very, very treasonous act. You see people protesting all over the world, all over the states. That is a very bad thing to do to the people. That is the height of betraying the people. Yeah, you can get an assistant to control government spending. You get that's a huge people are livid about this. People are livid. They want Elon Musk deported. They're like, who is this guy? Like, wait a minute. What's going on here? Why? What? Wait. You know? I tell you, right now, the price of gas and the price of eggs are not the biggest threat to American people. Right now is people like Elon Musk and America's freedom and America's democracy. You know, that is what is at stake. Democracy, you know, democracy. If you can elect a Congress, if people can go and elect people to be part of their Congress, but that doesn't mean anything at all because the president can just get some techno bros, some tech bros, they can come in and make major decisions anyway. Why did you even care to vote? You could have just slept. You could have just gone and forget about democracy, go sleep, and call it a day. Call it a day, because there's no point. There's no point. At that point, democracy is dead. You know, why do we even care? At that point, like, why do we care? Let me look at this. Let me look at this Whitney Webb. But just so you know, I don't believe anybody who says that God told them, God spoke them privately
All right, Tom, thank you.
to them and told them
All right,
like
Tom, thank you. Doesn't
this, that.
and probably no government was more guilty of that than the Reagan-Bush era with the Franklin scandal and a lot of the other things that were, oversawn as part of that, or like Iran-Contra drug trafficking, helping facilitate BCCI, which the U.S. Senate report admits was also sex trafficking minors to elites of the United Arab Emirates, including prepubescent children, right? I mean, frankly, one of the key guys in the Clinton administration on Chinagate, Mark Middleton, who was killed off in the middle of the Epstein scandal sort of unfolding in 2019. He supposedly hung himself in an extension cord. And
You know, all these billionaires, if you're talking about Epstein, the reason they unalived Epstein is because most of these guys, like rich and powerful men, they were essaying young children in an island with Epstein. And since they don't want their names to come out, like their cases are worse than Diddy. Like, I believe their cases of essaying children are worse than Diddy. And of course, they had to unalive him, you know? I'll look it up. I've seen her. I think she has a podcast, and she has a lot going on, but I think for me, I think I think you can't discount the fact that you see a lot of people in America protesting like 3 weeks into it. You can't think like all those people are dumb and that they're just taken to the streets because they just hate Trump or they don't see anything wrong. A lot of people do see a serious threat to democracy, and it's only 2 weeks into it. And for me, what I would want for Trump supporters to at least stop, for once, stop about like all this, like being driven by the hate towards migrant for 1 second. Just let that first of all go so that you can open yourself to what's actually happening. Because I think hate is very blinding. Hate can be very blinding. You can be like, all I want is all these migrants who are dirty to go, get out of the, all that, right? And I have had that rhetoric, and I'm like, for me, it is hard to reach somebody who's already so negative. We can have a conversation. And I think that why America is breaking down is all these people who are behaving like Karens, you can't even have a conversation with. I want them gone. They're subhumans. They are like blah, 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 blah. Like I cannot reach somebody who is talking smack like that. When when we have like seriously things to think about, like our constitution, democracy, it's like when you're voting, the first thing that you should always have in your mind is you have to protect freedom. You know, democracy should be the first thing that you protect, not the price of eggs. Is freedom and democracy. Like, when did we lose that? Like, protecting the constitution should be the first thing that everybody does. Protect the constitution. I do agree. In a sovereign country, like protecting the borders is still like a very like number one, like top one. Like, you protect the constitution, you protect the borders. I agree, but there is a whole lot, you know, there is a whole lot going on. For me personally, I would say Project 2025 scares me. Like, I read it and it scares me. It looks like a very sinister plot. Like, I've read it and it's sinister. And I know a lot of people who voted didn't even think about reading 2020, that project. And now 2 weeks into it, they're protesting, they're starting to swallow the pill. And I'm like, this is what you do before you vote. You first read and protect your democracy first. First thing, you know. Exactly. What are their policies? What are their goals? That is why I read Project 2025. And I'm still not very comfortable with that, with the whole Project 2025. First of all, let's talk about language, right? Okay, part of Trump making America great again, he says he wants to eliminate even terms like diversity and inclusion. He wants to eliminate all those terms, like get it out of the book. We don't need to see these things, right? I agree, but diversity and inclusion wasn't supposed to be like, oh, we are going to hire people who are totally unqualified to become pilots, but they have never passed a pilot exam. Or, oh, we are going to hire lawyers who haven't passed the bar or anything, just because we want a lawyer and we want to kind of show that we have diversity and inclusion. That wasn't the point. You know, that was the point. The thing is, really, that wasn't the point. The point was of diversity and inclusion. First of all, was acknowledging that America is coming from a racist past, and racism, whether you like to admit it or not, has been entrenched in the American system. And it's not just that. It's just that also people, like, even even on like people making fun, like comedians making fun in America, they talk about how white people be like, oh, I have a black friend. You know, it's kind of like, I have a trophy black friend. And that shows you that even in people's mentality, how ingrained it is. So when you say, when first of all, he campaigns on a very, very racist campaign where he tells people Haitians eat American pets, cats, and dogs. And then he comes in and decides to tell us, well, we have to forget or come into the fact that, forget that he ran on a racist campaign. Now tell us that DEI should not be there because we are all making it up. It's kind of like gaslighting people. It feels to me, it's like, you know, like when a narcissist is gaslighting you for complaining that something is unfair. I'm going to look up this girl because I see her. You're talking about this woman, right? Is this the woman, Whitney Webb? No, you know, I'm going to. You're talking about this girl. You're talking about this girl, and you have to know, like, I can listen to her, but on my own, you know, I studied politics for 4 years. You know, that's what I did in my undergrad. I studied international politics. I studied policies. I know that. I know why democracy should be the first thing that we defend instead of, you know, prices of eggs. Like, I know that, you know. um you know, I know Bitcoin is like, I know Americans get scammed all the time because of Bitcoin, you know, stuff like that. Like, you know, but it's okay because people want quick riches. They want to be quickly rich. And when you want to be quickly rich, I'm not saying you don't invest in Bitcoin, but if you think like, oh, I'm going to invest in Bitcoin and I'm going to wake up rich one day, you know. Everything was not fine. Oh, you think everything was fine in America until Martin Luther King started talking about it? Is that what you mean? That everything was okay in America until Martin Luther started talking about it? So, like, you think Jim Crow was fine until people started talking about it? Um, you know, I'm looking at this girl you're calling. She has like a billion. She has like a billion. Like, she has a lot of, not a billion. She has like a lot of videos on different topics. You know, so I would have to look at her at a few of her videos, you know, to get to get a hold of where her mind is. But I have my own independent way of analyzing things. I am not influenced by other people. I have a way of thinking, you know. um I mean, do I listen to everybody? Yes, I listen to Fox News. I listen to CNN. I listen to commentators on YouTube. I read the newspaper. You know, I'm not just like waiting for other people to tell me how to think, you know. Um, but most importantly, I was taught when I went to college, I was taught to see, you know, to understand, like, governments have, you know, just normal stuff, like basic things, like governments have divisions of power. And you can tell a dictator by the way he behaves. You can tell things are going wrong if you see these things, you know, like signs. And I'll definitely look I'll definitely look at her, you know. um she probably, and I don't know everything. Like, I don't know. um I'm not saying that I don't know everything, and I'm not about to be surprised. uh I'll definitely look her up. She has, I think she has a lot of, you know, I have seen like this one video that she's talking about Epstein. um she's talking about the end of the world as we know it.
If you like avoid talking about people's
Let me see. Yeah, I don't, you know, I probably may think the same. Like, for me, what I'm seeing with Washington, and what I'm seeing with Washington is not anything new from what people like Bernie Sanders are telling us right now, that Washington is going to be an oligarchy. And honestly, I don't think that we could have avoided this at all. I think it was going to happen, whether it was going to be under Trump or under the Democrats. I think we were moving in that direction anyway. Whether it's Trump or the Democrats, I think we are moving into that direction anyway. And I'm a Christian too, so I know that it's already predicted. Like, I already know the prophecy. Like, I already know the prophecy, and the prophecy doesn't tell us that there are good times coming ahead. The prophecy tells us, wait, wait for it. It's getting worse. There is no way Christ would have predicted things like, being forced by the government to have a number here and a number here, the number of the beast, like all these things. For me, I'm a Christian. I know they are coming. I know they are coming. I know. Yeah, I know. I do wanna talk about it, but sometimes I don't wanna know how evil they are, because I already know it's dark. I kind of like, I already know like things like Epstein has done, and I already know like most of the millionaires and billionaires we have were in that island. So for me, I think most of us don't want to know. Most of us know that it's really bad, that we already cannot trust these big billionaires. We already know this. We already you know oh, and I think that's why I think a lot of people will become Christian when they start realizing Christ is the answer. It's bad. Terrible. You say you're not disagreeing. You just want to know after I watch, huh? I'm saying. We will see. I mean, I don't want to live in fear. Like, I don't want to live in fear. I know that. Personally, I'm like you. Personally, I don't care about the price of eggs. I care about freedom. I care about freedom because at the end of the day, they can have the money. They can have the money. But, like, I don't want people taking my freedom away from me. Anywhere. This blockchain, the blockchain, I already know that the end of it, they want to enslave humanity. They want to enslave humanity. And once they start taking freedoms away from people, it's game over. It's game over. Americans can now try to get Elon Musk out of that Dodge office. I don't think he's budging. To be honest, I'm with you, leg breaker. When I was looking at Project 2025, I was like, when I started reading it, I was like, oh wow, his message is color blindness. He wants everybody to be treated the same no matter what race. It really sounded good until I realized that Project 2025, the agenda is white supremacy. The agenda is not color blindness. That's when I started realizing, oh shoot, there is something wrong here. Yeah, I thought Trump's agenda was colorblind. Let's be colorblind. But the more you read Project 2025, it starts, it takes on a dark note. And I don't know if it's just me, maybe honestly, you think I'm jumping the gun? I wish, for all I care, I wish I was wrong on this one. Like, this is one thing that I want to be 100% wrong. Have you ever wanted to be 100% wrong? This is one thing that I want 100% to be 100% wrong about it. That he's actually preaching color blindness because he sees the light. He sees the light. Like, this is what I want. But let me tell you, like, there is, you read something like Project 2025 and you're like, no, I'll listen to her. Like, if you have a video in particular that you want me to see, just send me the title of that like video. Because she has a lot of videos. If you have a video that you're like, okay, listen to this one, I want to see that because she has a lot of it. Because a lot of people think that Trump is just using DEI to bring America back to the dark ages of racism. Send me a video. Okay, let's see this one.
Order, but that's not really what most people think of when they see the flowery description that they give of SGG 16. But when you read what it's actually about,
okay, let me look at her. Let me go to one of her videos, like some of her videos, and we listen to it. If you have one that has a topic that you want us to listen to, give me so that I can just go to that one. So, okay, let's look at this one where she says...
so as far as my perspective on Trump goes, it tends to do with the view, it tends to revolve around the view that he is a businessman at heart and that the focus of his political style, I guess, is deal making. And, I wrote a lot in my book about Trump's mentor, Roy Cohn, who was, among other things, the general counsel to McCarthy during the McCarthy hearings. He was also, a New York City lawyer that represented a lot of unsafe.
She starts saying by Trump is a deal maker. He's a businessman. We already know that. We already know that Trump is a very good salesman. Everybody knows that. Everybody can respect Trump as a good salesman. He sold people to vote for him, despite despite you know despite being convicted, despite like all the things that were brought about. You know how the campaigns get dirty. Despite that, he was able to convince people to vote for him twice. You have to give every president who's ever been elected into a country the benefit of that. They are charismatic enough for millions of people to endorse them, and want to vote for them. So for me, like, I already know that Trump is a good salesperson. He's actually brilliant. So like somebody saying like Trump, I already know he's pretty good at at selling at selling anything. Even people who he's worked with, like in real estate, said that Trump was really good at selling. Like, he would not just tell you, oh, buy this place. He would tell you, oh, the surrounding area is beautiful. Everything here is beautiful. The neighbors are wonderful. He's been a career. He's been in career in business. So he's good at sales, you know. Um, now I was asking, like, do you think that Martin Luther was, Martin Luther was never an enemy to America, whether white or black people. He was just talking facts. And I think when somebody talks the truth, they become very powerful, because most people don't want to talk the truth, you know? And Martin Luther was not going to have it, because I think a lot of people had been conditioned that black people would not speak up. They would let the day continue. So when he speaks up about what black people are going through, a lot of people obviously would rather he did not talk, and that's why he was assassinated. No, I don't think for people to come and say that, things like Martin Luther and America wasn't racist. I have books that I have read about American history. People who have cataloged everything from slavery, and I think they did it up to the point after Obama was elected president, detailing the journey of the African Americans. It's a very painful journey. If you read those books, and those are facts about historians reading, like historians writing about the history of American people. There are times when Black Americans have worked so many years without getting paid a penny. A penny in this nation. They didn't get a penny. You work. We are fighting for higher wages every time. Just imagine working and not getting paid. If I decide to look her up at this point, I'll look her up. She's probably a good journalist. If she has written a book, I like people to read. I like people when people write books, instead of just commenting on politics. Like, when they write books, then we can read those books, like history books. And I have read about the history of African Americans. So I don't think Martin Luther was way off. You know, I'm not going to let a girl like on YouTube like start telling me that, oh, you know, what Martin Luther was saying was way off. No, because I have read the history of African Americans. I have read that history, and written by some of the best historians in the country, you know, detailing the like everything that African Americans have been through. African Americans have been burnt at the stake, and their big crime was trying to escape a slave master, you know, who was probably raping their children, you know, stuff like that. They've gone through that. They've gone through that. You can wipe out African American history and remove its suffering because you're going to tell people that they are not as resilient a people as they are, and they are very resilient. The fact that they are here today, even if their families have been broken down, you know, systematically by the system, their family structures have been destroyed. The fact that they are still here, you know, and still fighting for other people's rights, that shows the resilience of such a people. You know, I would never take anything from them, you know. You know, I don't care. You know, my job in life is, my job is not to say, you know, my goal is not to say like, oh my God, Trump is bad. He could be a good president. Maybe he has, you know, maybe he has some things that we are not seeing, you know. Maybe there are things that maybe we are judging him too harshly on. I'm not judging him as a person, you know. I'm not judging him as, you know, as a person. Like Trump and I have nothing personal. Like, I'm not personal against President Trump at all. He was voted by the people. He's the president of the people. You have to respect a man like that, you know. I admire his family values. He has a beautiful family. He provides for his family as a man, you know. Unlike so many of his voters and people who follow him who have broken families, who cannot get a girlfriend, who are not married, who are like divorced, you know, unlike so many of his followers, Trump is a very solid man. He's married, he has children, he takes good care of them. He's an all outright businessman, right? He goes there, hustles, makes deals. There's a lot of things that I look at him and I admire about him. He's charismatic, you know. Whether or not you like him, you have to admire the fact that he's very charismatic. He's well liked. You know, there are other people, you know, that don't like him for very good reasons too. Like there are things that, you know, I'll look at her and what she has to say, you know. I don't, you know, you like her, I know you're a big fan of her, you know. I'll look at her work. But there are also people that don't like Trump because you know, because of probably his sexual history with, you know, that all these things, like his sexual history, you know, stuff like that. And the fact that he's a convicted felon, there are people who don't like that. They're just people, and I don't think they hate him personally. I just think they don't want that associated with the office of the president. They are just like, you know, they have a certain respect for the office of the president, and they think that he doesn't deserve it. But whether or not those people think that he doesn't deserve it or not, too bad for them, because he is the president and people elected him. You know, so it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So, you know, I asked you to send me a title. You don't have to send me a link. You can send me a title, but you don't want to send me a title. So, of a of whatever. So I don't wanna, my job is not to talk about this girl. She probably has a lot of facts, but so does so many people on the internet. um yeah, but I know at some point there's somebody who is going to betray the American people. I know at some point, because the prophecy of the Bible, I believe in the prophecy. There's something I know, I believe about. I believe the prophecy. I believe that the Bible, when it says that people will be forced to take the number of the beast, and we know the number is 666, and we also know the number of money is 666. That's the code of money. If you look at your dollar, if you take your dollar bill, you will know money is 666. So the number of the beast will be 666, and they will try to force people to have it here and here. And we already have Neuralink. It's possible to link neurons and in the human brain. We already know that is possible. So um everybody, people out there, everybody out there gets an influencer or somebody they really want to really believe like this is the person that is going to tell me the truth. you know for some people that is Donald Trump. For some other people that could be another influencer or a journalist on the on the internet. I don't believe that there is one person who can give you the perspective of life out there. you know that's why we read from different books, from different authors. That's why we look at history and where we are from and where we are going. I think critical thinking is needed. Like, not everything, like, most people, they just have opinions, like not very systematic about their things. So for me, I already know how to think. I already know that when people are selling somebody like Bitcoin, stuff like that, and I've seen like people make money out of Bitcoin. I already know sometimes some of those decisions are bad because that's not how you invest. Like, I already have my own principles of investing that I think are solid, and they come about because of studying the stock market and how it behaves over time. Again, history, right? I think a lot of sound decisions that people make in their life, they make it out of observing the history and the story of history, and then realizing, oh, we are headed here, we are not headed that way. So it would be very sad for Americans to vote in a slavery system or a racist system, knowing how far they have come, like knowing how far and painful that history has been, and how careless it would be to go back into such a system. But again, I've seen a trend where people don't care about their rights and freedoms. People would trade their freedoms for the price of eggs. People don't care about their freedoms anymore. I also don't like people to tell me how to think, and I think part of the reason why I take time to read books and to read people's agenda is because I don't want people to tell me how to think. So like the reason I read Project 2025 is because I didn't want people to tell me stuff to tell me stuff about Project 2025 that I didn't know about. That's the reason I read that Project 2025. And voila, when I read that Project 2025, it doesn't tell me that we are creating a colorblind society. That Project 2025, what I get from it is that we defund education system because we don't want people to think, and we take out, all these measures that, when I look at America, and I know that it's coming from a very scary system of racism because that's what it's been, and that's why like some of the things have been put in place, and now we want to dismantle that. But the thing is, the same party that's telling us we need to create a colorblind society, all I'm seeing on the internet is, and even I've had the privilege of people just wanting to make it clear to me, personally, of how they don't even want migrants in the country. I was shopping the other day in the shopping market, and this white guy, he was on the phone, and he comes very close to me when he's like, when I'm buying grocery, picking up things, and because I think he did this on purpose because I'm black, he goes on the phone and he's like, yeah, we want them deported, we want them out of here, we don't want to see them. I was like, why do you need to tell? Yeah, like, are you saying this because I'm here and I'm black? And then I was walking the other day, just taking a walk, and this white woman passes through me and she starts asking me things like why I'm not out there working, and I'm like, it's not even her business, and I am an adult, and the lack of respect, astounding. Then I went to another place where I was. It was this club where people talk, like where people kind of learn how to do speeches, and this white man was asking me things like, oh, what's your immigration status? I mean, I'm an adult. I don't have to answer about my immigration status to anybody. Just the normal bullying, like everyday normal bullying of people, for you to come and tell us that people are colorblind now. People are not colorblind. We may want that, but the reality is, people of color will tell you, white America is not colorblind. They make it every day clear that they are not colorblind. I'm not being like, you want me to read something and I ask you to give me a title of some of her videos because, she has a lot going on. Good for her. She has a lot going on. I will watch it later, but right now I don't have the time to watch it because right now I'm doing a live stream. So I don't know why you're badgering me to watch her. You're not giving me an exact video to watch of her, and if I have to watch it later, then I have to watch it later because right now the time that I have here is for my live stream. So if you want to join in my live stream the next time, I'll probably look at some of her videos later after the live stream, but I can't stop what I'm doing to go watch somebody else's live stream, like videos, because I'm on a live stream. Okay, well, yeah. All right, then. Have a good day. Bye. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, what else? Okay, so we are talking about America today. If you're moving in, we are talking about yeah, we're talking about the future of America right here. There's a lot of protest going on, and most Americans, they don't like the fact that Elon Musk is taking over the budgeting, that the job that is for the Congress. The richest man on earth found his way to control America's trillions and trillions of dollars. Elon Musk worked very hard for his money. Don't get me wrong. He worked for every penny. And the richest man is now controlling America's trillions and trillions of dollars, because you know what? All other Americans, including all the members of Congress, they are too dumb. We need the richest man on the planet to come and control America's money. We need the richest man. You know, he got there by being effective in managing America's money. Americans are livid. They can't have it. Americans are livid. They're protesting everywhere. They want Elon Musk out, you know. He's very efficient. The country is like a company. He can just control it. And while he's at that, tech bros can have all your information. You know, total control. Total control of the American economy by the oligarchs. That's the end of democracy for us. And we would think the Democrats are pathetic for protesting. You know, it's game over. However you slice it, or whatever you may think, I don't think Elon Musk has the authority to do it. You know, and the moment that you don't have the authority from the American people to mess up with their money, you shouldn't be there. It's that simple. It's not his country, it's not his money, he's not been voted. Like, what the heck is he still doing there? You know, it's about, that's that. You know, when boundaries are there for a reason. You know, the only reason that he's there is because he's rich and he has a lot of money. Let me see. Musk in Congress. Government spending. I wonder how much money Elon Musk spent to help Trump with his campaign. And I think somebody saying last year Elon Musk spent more than $250 million to help elect Donald Trump. Since election day, he has become 154 billion richer, nearly 600 times return on his investment. America's for sale. Now, Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire, has taken control of highly sensitive information in the US Treasury Department and has tried to shut down US aid without any federal oversight. Contracts to his business interest by the federal government have exceeded 20 billion, with some additional contracts with undisclosed amounts, as in the case of Starlink. And the biggest, I think this is the biggest critic, like people are criticizing here. No one should have the ability to direct funds towards their personal interest if they are working for federal government. That is abuse, total abuse. This is unheard of. This is total abuse of the federal government. That's why we don't allow members of Congress or many other federal employees to receive federal contracts. The same is even more true with special government employees with wide authority to direct federal expenses, said Representative Polkan. No government employee, special or not, should have any financial interest in who the government does business with. Elon Musk is the poster child for this type of potential abuse. After more than 20 billion in federal contracts, there's no way Musk can be objective in what he's doing. Protecting the taxpayers has to be our number one priority. This is total abuse. Like, I don't even, this is that, you know. But I don't care for so many people, because already, like, a lot of people don't have the respect for even the office of the president. So I don't even think they care at this point. I don't think we've become a banana republic. I don't even think people care anymore. I guess some animals are more special than others. You know, I'll go with George Cowell right there. Some animals are more special than others, and he called them pigs. George Cowell called them straight up pigs. In his book Animal Farm, he called them pigs. You know, greedy people who think they have more rights than other people, you know. No, he says some animals are more equal. He put it funny. He said some animals are more equal than others in his book. And then he called them pigs. you can't judge. Oh, yeah. Uh, yeah. I'll never forget that. Some animals are more equal than others. Pigs. This book, When Humans Turn to Animals, Animal Farm, that was George Orwell. Shamba la Wanyama, Animal Farm. We are turning into this. We are turning into an animal farm where we have oligarchs at the top and they are more equal than others, and and they're pigs. This is what's going to happen to our banana republic. Our banana republic. And I think this is why like yeah, and I think this is why they don't want people getting educated. But it's nice that you read this book, Animal Farm by George Orwell, because I don't think America has a future. Mass protests. I mean, I think right now, some of the best quotes on Animal Farm. All the animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. No question now what had happened to the faces of the pigs. The creatures outside looked from pig to man, and then from man to pig, and from pig to man again. But already it was impossible to say which was which. George Orwell also said, "Comrades," he said quietly, "do you know who is responsible for this? Do you know the enemy who has come in the night and thrown our windmill snowball? Our windmill? The human beings did not hate the animal farm any less now that it was prospering. Indeed, they hated it even more." We are in an animal farm. We are in an animal farm like George Orwell's. So some of his best quotes, the best quotes. Man is the only real enemy we have. Remove man from the scene, and the root causes of hunger and overwork is abolished forever. Man is the only creature that consumes without producing. He does not give milk. He does not lay eggs. He is too weak to pull the plow. He cannot run fast to catch rabbits, yet he is Lord of all animals. He sets them to work. He gives them back to them the bare minimum that will prevent them from starving, and the rest he keeps to himself. We are turning into an animal farm. I think we are the animals on that farm. Chapter 3, I will work harder. Oh my goodness. I'm going to read Animal Farm again. Chapter 3 is like, I will work harder. Harder. Woi. Oh, woi. You will work harder. It's going to help you. Mm. This work was strictly voluntary, but any animal who absented himself from it would have rations reduced by half. Public funds. Okay, so this is a good one. This is a good one. This is a good photo of these pigs. They are eating the public funds. Right here, it's written public funds. Public funds. You look the pigs, they are like on their hands, on the public funds, you know? And it says it's only unethical if they claim the trough as a deduction. So they start making excuses why some people dip into the coffers of the public, and they start making excuses on why it's only unethical for some and not for some. And this is why we are here. People trying to make excuses on Elon Musk dipping his hands on public coffers in the name of helping Americans, because already they can say Americans are way stupid to even know what is happening with their money. We need to help them. Pigs. Some animals are more equal than others. Pigs. Pigs. That's what's happening with American oligarchy. They are more equal than everybody else. Elon Musk can decide, well, I can just dip my hands into the public coffers. I can help Americans because who cares about the normal American? This is terrible. I am incensed by this, but I don't think a lot of people even care. They want to watch Blake Lively and know what's going on with Blake Lively's case. I guess that's what we can do, distract ourselves. Okay, let me see. This guy saying he knows what Elon wants.
Back to Gary's economics. Today we're going to talk about Elon Musk. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Elon Musk is the world's richest man, and he is the owner of Twitter and Tesla, and he has recently made his big entry into politics, supporting Donald Trump aggressively. Donald Trump, of course, won the election. It looks like he will give Elon Musk an official role in the US government, and he has started intervening quite aggressively in politics in a lot of countries, including here in the UK, but also all across Europe, generally supporting the anti-immigrant far-right, right-wing parties, and we're going to talk today about what we can learn from this movement of Elon Musk into politics. So I think the first thing which we can learn about this maneuver from Elon Musk is I think it's a really good demonstration of something which I've been trying to educate, trying to illustrate a lot on this channel, which is that when the super rich get really, really rich, that doesn't not affect you. It has an impact on you. On this channel, we talk a lot about the need to tax the rich more in order to protect living standards, and we often get the pushback, that's the politics of envy, you shouldn't tax the rich, it doesn't matter if rich people get rich, we should focus on getting rich ourselves.
This is the thing, we get gaslighted. We get gaslighted when we talk about policies and about protecting democracy, about taxing the rich. We get gaslighted. It's like, we are gaslighting you. The rich should not be taxed because they are God. They're like the monarchy of Britain. Why are they even paying taxes? My God, I can't even stand this. You know, the rich people here, the corporations, they're like the monarchy. Why are they even paying taxes? I think we should be feeling sorry that we are even making them pay more taxes. You know? Well, we squeeze the middle class back into being the poor class. Jesus.
Rich doesn't affect us. And this is a really good example of why the rich being super rich does affect you. The rich getting richer and richer and richer, and ordinary people owning fewer and fewer assets, that affects you because the rich are competing for the same resources that you need. There's only a certain amount of things in the economy, only a certain amount of housing, only a certain amount of education, universities, doctors, dentists, physical space in the cities.
Okay, his argument, I don't think his argument makes sense. The rich can afford everything, so they are already like in another class, in another world. I don't know what's happening. But I know anybody who voted for the prices of grocery to go down, the prices of groceries are going up. That's not happening. Well, I think I have done my due for this evening. 120 minutes live, 28 minutes live. So I'll see you tomorrow live.